to the World Games. A suspension for many of its top players 5 years ago. So this is the first time we're seeing the real Team Japan since 2013 in Cali, Colombia. Of course, Japan was a silver medalist back in '09 against the United States. This is a really high-profile matchup, really the game of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're going to see an incredible clash of styles, and I mean that in the most positive way. Japan noted for a lot of inside throws and break mark throws that aren't break marks, and just incredible range and moving the mark. Brilliant play. No mark zones. What should we expect from the Colombians?
I mean, they are a very disciplined squad. They have been playing together for so many years. There are, I believe, 7 players on this World Games squad who played at the previous World Games. So they have a lot of chemistry, and they're going to lean into that, lean into their discipline, and lean into the work that they have been putting on over the years, developing the youth, and they're now seeing the fruits of their labor. So we're going to see a lot of chemistry and a lot of grit and determination.
6 of those 7 returners for Colombia are the women matching players, including the Cardenas twins, who are just 22, turning 23. It feels like they've been around forever. They're still in their early 20s. Gina Cartagena. It's a loaded Colombian roster, as you see Elizabeth Mosquera, who has come back from a torn ACL since the last time we saw her at the World Games. Let's talk about what happened. First we'll go to the Colombia upset from 2017. The first game of the tournament in Poland, and the USA was knocked off by this Colombian juggernaut.
Yeah, I may have had a candid moment with former head coach Alex Duchy Gesquier about this game. He had shared just how frightening it was to get knocked off the first set. Colombia, their style of possession, intricate passing, right, using their women to such an incredible degree. These are things that aren't necessarily what you'll see from a lot of different teams. And Colombia bringing that with their then 17-year-old Cardenas twins.
And the United States, as you see, overcame a 4-goal deficit, got back into a tie game, but Colombia had the answers down the stretch, Megan.
I really liked how you said intricate passing, Daryl, because I think that's one of the things that can set them apart. They have such athletic downfield receivers who are perfectly capable of handling the disc. They find those tight margins and are able to do just incredibly gymnastic or balletic moves to get the disc to the tight spaces that they're looking for. It is incredibly difficult to game plan against a team that has such a wide range of abilities as a lot of the individuals on Colombia have.
That was Manu catching that, right?
Manuela Cardenas, who has been on so many huge stages already in her career. And speaking of a guy who's no stranger to the big stage, this is the return to the World Games for Masahiro Matsuno, who I think any American or North American or South American Ultimate player, when they think about Japanese Ultimate, Matsuno is the legend that comes to mind.
Oh my goodness. The 2014 Lecco Ironside game, watching him go up against George Stubbs and just go over him, and I'm like, how? But wasn't he also just playing like 5-10 years ago, maybe, in the Gold Cup?
And I think he does that to the Stubbs family, because he got John in 2016 in London.
Right. At the WUGC.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He's timeless. The fact is that he's one of the best receivers and one of the best throwers of all time. His ability to put in knifing, blading passes that just are pinpoint accurate and are undefendable, that is one of the things he is known for.
In 2009, Japan went to the gold medal game against USA. They actually beat the United States early in the tournament. USA got revenge in the finals. 2009 was just Matsuno's second trip to the World Games after he made his World Games debut back in 2005.
Wow. I mean, I think Arakawa was on that team, too. I feel like I just saw him in that highlight catching a goal. So, there's at least 2 of these players who have got that experience going back to in 2009.
Dylan Tennell, the USA, catching the game-winning goal. He had a couple iterations on the World Games. So we're getting set for Colombia and Japan, Game 3 of the day, with Liam Grant and Rahel Toshnerova in the Olympic Channel studios. But before we move along, Daryl and Megan, I want to ask you from this morning's session, Germany over Canada 13-5, Australia defeating France on Universe 13-12. I want to get each of your biggest takeaways from the first morning session at the World Games.
So to me, I think energy needs to be manufactured was what we saw. With only 14 players, we talked about it in the opening. You have to be able to make your own energy. You got to be able to find a way to communicate even when you're tired, and you have to find a way to just motivate your teammates to push through. And we saw especially in the second game, both teams were doing such a great job of that. So.
For me, it was really remarkable how teams that were finding the adjustments and implementing them quickly stood a better shot of making it to the end of the game unscathed. We saw that so much in the Australia-France game, and we saw the lack of that in the Germany-Canada game. And you just can't take your opponent for granted. You don't know a ton about them, even if you have researched individual players. So the ability for the coaching staff to say, here's what I'm seeing, and for the players to implement those changes, so crucial.
You didn't ask me, but I think my big takeaway was Germany might be ready to compete for a medal. They were that good this morning against Canada. Real quickly, picks, Colombia, Japan. Daryl, who you taking?
Colombia by 2.
Megan?
I'm also going with Colombia.
I'll take Colombia by more than 2. I think the Colombians are going to make a statement here in their first game of the tournament. Japan just arrived into the United States, most of them, on Saturday, so I'm worried about how their bodies will adjust in this heat in Alabama, and God knows what hour it is on their body clocks right now. All right. That'll do it for me, Daryl, and Megan here. We will see you at halftime. Let's get you to Liam Grant and Rahel Tashnareva after the break for Colombia and Japan here at the World Games.
Every 4 years, there is a new opportunity. A chance for the world's best players to take center stage. A chance for glory, for teamwork, for upsets, for gold. 8 countries are sending their 14 finest to Birmingham, Alabama for the opportunity to reach the pinnacle of ultimate. The 2022 World Games start right now.
Welcome to the coverage of the best and fairest sport on the planet, the flying disc, or as some of you might know it, ultimate Frisbee. We're bringing you the stream fresh of the grassy pitches at the John Carroll High School in Birmingham, Alabama. Ready for this matchup are Team Japan taking on Team Colombia. Behind the mic for your pleasure and entertainment is Rahel Tashnareva, joined by the Grant, Liam Grant. Liam, what do you expect from this game?
Yeah, great to be covering this one, Rachel. Really exciting matchup. 2 teams that really deviate from the traditional style of ultimate that we've seen in North America. Both teams have beaten USA in the group stages of this tournament before, and that's a lot down to those contrasting styles and unique style of play. So really interesting to see how they match up. The Colombians, a lot of give-go, really great movement. Japan with those cross-field hooks, inside breaks. So really contrasting styles here. Exciting to see who can win this matchup. Probably looking to avoid USA in a semi-final. These 2 teams pipped to finish top of this pool. So really exciting matchup today.
So as I'm told, Japan will start on offense with 4 men. We see them pick out their first line of the best 7 to start us off with some solid Japanese ultimate.
We are using the prescribed gender pulling rule for this tournament, so I think that's going to be very interesting this game when you have the likes of Elizabeth Mosquera for the Colombians, who has an incredible pull. That might be more advantageous with this new rule.
Would you by any chance know, Liam, who's come up with this rule?
It was me that put it forward to the WFDF board.
Just thought it might be worth mentioning.
Yeah, this is their first time testing it out. World Games actually uses a test bed for many of the rules, including Ratio Rule A, which kind of goes hand in hand with this pulling rule. But I think it's been successful so far.
And on behalf of all Ultimate women, I would like to officially thank you for showcasing our great pulling abilities. But here is Duque with the first pull, getting ready for Colombia. It goes up, it goes high, and it almost reaches the Japanese end zone. Japan immediately set up in a lateral sort of line across the pitch, and immediately there will be a foul call, uncontested on the mark. Asada with the disc.
These two nations have a bit of a chippy history, Rahel, which you maybe touch on later in the tournament.
Here's a big pull straight away off of the first pass. Will it go all the way into the end zone? No, not just quite. Japanese on the end zone line. Looking for options is Arakawa. Decides to go backwards. Asada now through the break side, but that disc a little too high for Inamura. First potential break chance for Colombia as they go the other way. Here is Mosquera, puts it to the sideline, but almost immediately they center the disc again. You see a little bit of sagging defense on the handlers by the Japanese. They try to spread it wide. Here's a gainer, but a low grab. They keep the disc alive. Mosquera now, down the sideline. They again go backwards, wide open. Mosquera on the near sideline now, gets it again. Goes with a short pass to Cardenas. That is the Manuela variety of Cardenas. Quick reset to Duque. Oh, and here is an interception by the Japanese.
Yoshida running through with that one and looks for the end zone straight away.
And she gets it in there straight away for the score. Akifumi Muraoka. Not a clean hold, but a hold nonetheless, Liam.
Yeah, getting a little taste of Japanese ultimate there. We saw Arakawa going deep off one of the first plays. He's one of the best receivers in the sport. An absolute goal machine, better known as the Jet. Surprised to see Kaede Yoshida on the opening O-line because she's known for making great defensive plays, but sometimes the O-line coughs it up and she's there to get it back for them. She wastes no time in rocketing one to the end zone.
This 26-year-old system engineer will surely be one to watch for this Japanese offense and defense, like you said.
She's probably one of the most fun players in the game at the moment. Everyone loves Kaede Yoshida. She brings a lot of fun, joy, and happiness to the game. Plays with her home team, Tokyo Mavericks, which she started. Used to be called Tokyo Veggie Griffins and had a very funny jersey with Madonna on the front of it. But gone to the Tokyo Mavericks now. But I think she brings high-level ultimate and high-level fun.
She's also best friends with Mish Phillips, who is playing for the World Games team of Australia. So it will be really interesting to see these two match up eventually, maybe later in the stages of the tournament. But here is a first offensive point for Colombia. Colombia have been trying to put some extra precision to their offense. We know they like to play small ball, or should we say small disc. Torres with a wide swing. A great grab, good awareness by Ramirez. Goes with a lefty. Cardenas. So it's Valeria. Nice poached look from the Japanese defense. Not quite there yet. Cartagena just on the doorstep. Goes back to Torres. Torres looking for option. Here it is, Cartagena making sure the rest of the players on her team set up the stack and calm down a little bit, avoiding the Japanese poaches, a pick on the field.
There's some incredible switching going on by the Japanese outside that end zone. Great awareness, peeling off, switching everyone. Great end zone stand here, keeping the Colombians out for now.
Manu Cardenas taps the disc in. Immediately goes sideways to Cartagena. Now she has it again, puts up a blady flick into the end zone. And that's a first score for Colombia.
Yeah, great stuff by Colombia. That big blady cross-field goal is a great way to get around these poaches. A lot of Japanese players in the lanes had to go over and around there with that big blade throw. Good patience from the Colombians. Clean hold on offense there. You see Valeria Cardenas on the screen there. Fantastic point from her. I think with these Colombian women, they're all taking turns of being the best player in the world. Debatable where Valeria is at the moment.
They've been active on the international scene for such a long time. They've made their appearance at the World Games in Wrocław only at the age of 17, which is just incredible.
Yeah, Valeria needed to unlock that Japanese defense. She's going to be taking those more difficult throws, those blades, those hooks. And I'm very excited to see the first pull from Mosquera.
And it is pretty great, reaching the end of the Japanese end zone. Doesn't have too much float on it, but nonetheless makes the Japanese really go all the way. Here's Honna. Kashino. Kashino is now looking for the reset. Goes with an inside break, but intercepted by the Colombians. They reset it to Cardenas. Good save. Mosquera now on the far sideline. Looking for the set end zone play. Fakes the hammer, doesn't take it. Resets. There's the other Cardenas with a nice upline cut. Again, looking for that short pass. They go around the defenders, and that's a score for the Colombians. That is Montaña. Yeah. Jimena Montaña, of course, one of the Revolution players. She has joined the team coming from another city, came to play in Medellin, just to join the top of the country.
Montaña coming in as a replacement for Laura Ospina. As we see there from Colombians, if you can't go through it, you got to go around it. The Japanese so good at that end zone standoff. As you see Hona making a great defensive play, but gathered up in the end by Ivan Alba, the Comunidad El Oso player. You see Manu now having to go with the blady around flick. Great little wind today in Birmingham, Alabama, so they're able to get those throws off with ease.
So you've made a trip before to Japan yourself, Liam. How is the weather out there? Because I've been speaking to the Colombians, and they have done training in all sorts of conditions, high altitudes as well, really working on that conditioning and ability to access their breath at all times. Oh, and another huge put for the Japanese. This might be, no, it's definitely not out of reach of Arakawa. We knew he was going to be so big for the Japanese downfield, and he's done just that, really. We see him with a big smile there.
Arakawa, the Jet. Had a little celebration before he even caught that one. I like it, bringing some style and steez to this Japanese team. That's already twice now. He's boosted deep and nobody close to him. I feel like the Colombians need to make an adjustment there and try and force him under, but that's what he's so good at. You see him peeling away there and nobody even close to him. Has a look around a little fist to the air. I like it. I'm sure many coaches would be discouraging that, but as a pundit, you love to see it.
Yeah, once he gets going, he gets going. You can't just think that you're going to get a step on him under, because that is the exact moment where he's just going to shoot deep. Excellent stuff out of the Japanese. So far, really, I think our predictions are being fulfilled.
Yeah, it's been very, very exciting game so far. As you said, those contrasting styles coming to the fore. I love how the Japanese play. I think they have some of the best tactics. Particularly, I think they're the best team in the world for switching and that kind of help defense.
Very impressive to bring that to the world stage, given that these players come from different clubs, mixed not necessarily being their go-to category. But back to the action on the field. Here is the Colombians swinging the disc side to side. Ramirez. Quick movement. The other Ramirez now.
I want to say this is a bit of a take on a kind of a hexagon offense. Looks a little bit like that at the moment.
For those of you who are not familiar with Ultimate Frisbee tactics, this is sort of a newer approach to the game, where instead of sort of set plays and set starting positions, you opt for a more fluid look, trying to move the disc quickly, follow each of your passes. There's a big throw, great read by Ramirez, who has completely lost his defender. Colombians in the red zone now. Cartagena navigating the traffic, but a wide open receiver in the open side, and that is Jose Jimenez with the score. Does a little bow for the fans. Colombia with another offensive hold, going up 3-2 over Japan.
Colombia holding up a jersey which says, "I trust you" on it. With a Rosero jersey there as well. You can see written on the chest of their jerseys, "I trust you." Spirit has become a big thing for the Colombians, and they were a very spirited team back in 2017.
I think that was definitely on purpose, that Jimenez held up that Rosero jersey, and making sure the camera sees that. Here is Mauricio Moore, one of the minds behind this World Games Colombian team, as well as the longtime coach of Revolution. But we should definitely, when we say A, we should also say B. So just as much as Mauricio is, should I say, principal in his role in Revolution, his wife Aleja Torres, who is on the pitch right now for this Colombian team, has been equally active for the men's side of things in Medellin, working with the Evolution Club, which is the male counterpart to Revolution.
That ball lands out of bounds and is picked up by game advisor Ruben Berg, one of the leaders of this game advisor system. Just there to provide rules clarification and keep the game motoring along.
Recently popularized Frisbee, or should I say Ultimate Frisbee, being a guest on an Australian TV show. Oh no, and here's a miscommunication between the Japanese. Good chance for the Colombians to break. They quickly move towards the other half. Cardenas looking for the break throw, doesn't take it, goes around to Mosquera.
I'm loving this Yoshida Cardenas matchup in the middle of the field. Two very exciting players. Takuhona there had another turnover.
Pick.
I think there was a little collision on the
This
field.
there or this back here? One more back. One back.
I think we're hearing about 3 different languages right now.
You can catch up to where you would have been without the pick. Not all the way.
So like we said, game advisors only providing their perspective if asked on it. Mosquera gets the disc back into play. Here's a big throw to Forero. Goes to Cardenas through the middle. Keep swinging it sideways. We really see the Colombians relying on the quick looks. Lots of flow. Not afraid of the smaller passes. Ramirez. Great side throw to Mosquera. The Colombians knocking on the doorstep. Ford. Japanese not letting a window open up. And this was a great throw for a score. Ivan Alba for Colombia.
Beautiful sugar-coated hammer there. And again, we see the Colombians kind of taking to the air to get that end zone shot, having to go over it this time. 3 of their 4 end zone shots having to be lady around throws or hammers. You can see how well the Japanese guard their end zone, but definitely lack a bit of height at times. So sometimes going over Japanese defense is the best way to go. See 44, Felipe Ramirez with that hammer was fantastic for the Colombian U24 team, a real star for them. And was actually a World Game player before, even though he's quite young. I think he's just 25, 26 years old. Already has a World Games under his belt.
So we see the teams leave the pitch for now, and this is due to a so-called heat timeout, which is a new institute, so to speak, brought in by the WFDF to protect the players from being exposed to so much heat and humidity. You can see it on your screens right now what the situation is at the moment in Birmingham. So the players will have about 3 minutes to refresh themselves in the tents, get some water down their throats. And Liam, we could talk a little bit. You were just about to say that Colombia has some very young players, but they have lots of experience under their belt, given that they have already been at this world stage, at the World Games. So is it true that all the women on the Colombian side have played the World Games in Wrocław, Poland?
I believe the original roster was, with Laura Ospina, was the first original 7, but now I think it's Jimena Montaña's first time at the tournament, coming in as an injury replacement for Ospina, so almost exactly the same roster. See Mauricio Moore there without his hat on. That's unusual. Obviously takes it off when he goes inside a tent.
The situation must be grave.
Yeah, as we saw in a graphic earlier, 89 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that means.
Yeah, none of us here in the commentary booth know. We apologize. But we do have outside help, so it is 31 degrees Celsius.
Thank you.
In any case, so almost the same roster for the women on the Colombian side. Not exactly the same roster for the men's side, but again, some recurrent faces. We see the absolute energy and emphasis that Moore is putting in his words, speaking to the team.
Yeah, players take an opportunity to get out of this blistering hot Alabama sun. Have a little sit down, have a little chat.
So can you also maybe explain the situation on the Japanese side, Liam? We have had some previews of this tournament and some people not fully recognizing some names on the roster. So what's the deal there?
Well, we have a legend of the game, Masahiro Matsuno, wearing the number 10 jersey as always, was missing from the last World Games, as many Buzz players were actually banned from their national federation with competing. So a very different look World Games team last time, but he's back for another go. The timeless cutter of the Buzz Bullets. Buzz Bullets notably lost a game in Japan for, I think, for the first time about 20 years. The Rascals, I believe, in a group stage preliminary game. Not a very big reported game, but
enough about the men. I was more referring to the women on the roster that come with new names. None of those. No, doesn't ring a bell.
I was getting there. Kaede Yoshida, as we talked about before, one of the stall-out stars of this team, played in the Asian Oceanic All-Star Tour along with Kana Noguchi. People might remember as Kana Kobayashi. She recently changed her name out of Nippon Sports Science University. Lots of these players actually play with Nippon Sports Science University.
And here, for your enjoyment, another one of Mascara's pulls. Again, makes it all the way into the end zone. And there is Honna. Centering for Japan. Asada fakes big, doesn't take it though. There's a wide open Kashino. Oh, and a stall out, was it?
We had a stall.
Immediately, the Colombians pick up. But is there going to be another stall out on the other side now? No, they managed to get it off. Ramirez spreads it wide to Alba. See a little isolation in the front of the stack. Cardenas with a huge backhand into the end zone. She ripped that one, and it's another score for Jimenez. And a break for Colombia, Liam.
Jose Jimenez with his second goal of the game, showing us his dance move there. And yet again, another lady crossfield throw from Colombia to beat this Japanese defense. The Japanese more famed for their bladey throws, but the Colombians using them here to great effect. And Japan just not clicking at the moment. You see a stall out, some throwaways. Yes, there's great pressure from the Colombians, but you got to feel like the Japanese not playing at their best. Colombians, debatably the best ultimate team here, but you have to say maybe the best dancers.
Definitely. There's different teams with different moves, but in terms of rhythm and a little bit of shaky shake, I think the Colombians must be right up there.
Yeah, famed for doing dances in their warm-ups and halftime preparations.
Feel free to join them whenever you're around that team. I think you would be more than welcome. Duque has been doing the pulling on the men's side for Colombia.
Yeah, the 36-year-old coming out of Bogota has a lot of experience. See, with both these teams having a wide age range, many teams with 15, 16 years between the oldest and youngest player. Good to see.
Yep, something for everybody out there to get inspired. But the pull goes out of bounds. And this time it's the steady hands of Inamura that pick up for Japan and take the disc to the brick mark, which is the little cross on the field. And that is a starting point that you can choose when the disc lands out of bounds. And here is another huge putt. And it's going to make it straight into the end zone. And who else with the score than Taiyo Arakawa?
And that was the big lefty flick from Masahiro Matsuno, the famed left-handed player. Sends one to Arakawa. They have a long history throwing to each other. And that's been probably the most successful look for this Japanese team, is sending it to Arakawa. Really struggling to generate any other kind of offense.
No need, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We definitely, for those of you who are new to our sport, the Japanese do have a very specific throwing technique. They just look so effortless, and they put the disc so far, and it goes so steady. It has so much spin on it. My personal theory is that they just can deal with their core really well. They just know exactly how to engage it. You see no backwards bend, no sideways bend. It's just they keep their arm close to their body and use their core to support the energy coming from their hip into their arm, generating so much power. Torres now for Colombia. Big fakes, Cartagena.
You see a zone defense here from the Japanese.
Cantor sporting the face mask, protecting him from a previous injury. Here's a ripper backhand all the way into the end zone. Ramirez comes down with it, and this time it's Simon. Simon, not only a talented Frisbee player, Also a little gymnast with his backward roll in the end zone. He's also a super talented musician, often playing duets with the coach Mauricio. Mauricio sings, Simon plays, and it's a little symphony, just like that throw and catch by the Colombians in the last point.
Yeah, the music professor orchestrating this offense here gets up early with a great catch. He's not even landing on the ground, he's already shaking hands. You see Ramirez to Ramirez there. Felipe Ramirez with the backhand hook. And this Colombian side just looking like a well-oiled machine at the moment.
I have not even noticed, and we were having such a good time here with Liam discussing all the different fun aspects of both of these teams that we didn't even notice that Colombia is up 6-3.
Yeah, only one turnover in this game so far. And that was from the Colombian D-line, their O-line perfect.
So Japan yet to force a break out of this Colombian team. But of course, they first need to focus on their offense. Mosquera puts up another one. This one has everything. It's got distance, it's got float. The Japanese move it quickly. Asada with an overthrow. Cardenas makes sure it goes to the ground. Another chance for Colombia for a break, and Duquet takes a timeout knowing that this could be the breaking point for his team.
Yeah, Colombia take the timeout, looking to break, to take half and set up a substantial lead in this game. Japan just not clicking at the moment, Rahel. They're such a talented side, but you can see getting disrupted in the hander position, really struggling to get a foothold in this game.
It seems like when they don't get the deep shot off, they're struggling to find options under, which is something that can be fixed by several different approaches. So let's hope that the Japanese coaches will be able to advise on that.
Yeah, not to take away from the sensational defense of this Colombian side.
So we see the teams break out their huddles. Let's see if Colombia will come up with a set play, being so close to their end zone. There's usually specific tactics for attacking the end zone for the score, really getting through the last few meters or yards, whatever you prefer. Duque goes through the break side. Or returns the disc to him. Cárdenas. Doesn't get the up line. Mosquera to Torres. Cárdenas with a save.
That battle with Yoshida getting very heated there.
I think the Japanese know that they need to get this one, or else it might be critical for the outcome of this game. It seems like there will be a foul downfield.
See Yoshida there. Might be considered a close contact with Manu after this game, getting very close to her hip throughout this point.
So it's great to be able to see these discussions. We're hearing Duque calling for everyone to keep calm, focus on the task at hand. Cárdenas working with Duque in the handling space. Ford to the middle to Forero. And I think Cárdenas will signal for an exchange of the disc. It is not uncommon to have the disc bent in this if the conditions are the way they are, meaning the temperature is high, plastics gets hot. And bendy.
Okay.
Yoshida looking a little bit like she could use that break on the defense.
With the disc for Colombia.
Cárdenas, of course, one of the hardest matchups in the game.
pick call downfield.
This will come in from Montaña. Mosquera thinking about the reset, but a foul call on the mark. Despite the height difference, the Japanese can get, I would almost say, annoying on the mark. Oh, and here's the jump in score for Colombia and an important break. Colombia take the half 7-3. As we go into halftime, some hugging and kissing. I think they do have a reason to be pleased with the outcome. They have really come streaking, especially in the second part of the first half.
Clinical offense from the Colombians. Not much more can be said. They know how to play at this level. The Japanese still haven't found their rhythm.
So as the players leave for their refreshments, we will get ready for some second half action.
There's something about Team Colombia and the first game of the World Games. 5 years ago in Poland, they defeat Team USA, handing the Americans their only loss of the tournament. In the first half here, only one turnover. It came on the very first point. It was a deep point, and then they played perfect ultimate, getting 4 breaks. Colombia leads 7-3 at halftime.
Wow, intricate passing, huh? I mean, if there was ever an ultimate Frisbee equivalent of tiki-taka, this is it, what the Colombians do. Short passes, I mean, we're seeing some of their over-the-top throws, but the setup to these moments is possession. And then, you know, Manuela throws something incisive like that.
Yeah, 3 assists for Manuela in the first half, just with some outstanding wraparound throws. That was one of the great long passes we saw from Japan in the first half. But really, just watching Colombia work the disc around the front of the end zone, being fearless with some of the attacks they've been making, it has been difficult for a Japanese defense, which honestly has been pretty good.
Yeah, they've shown some nice wrinkles. A couple times they were in the end zone. It was very zonal almost, where, you know, if you started to cut to the disc, you saw the Japanese defender of either gender lingering and waiting in that space and saying, okay, now that you put me in this space, I'll stay here and make it impossible for anybody else to cut. And another time they were downfield and they did a really good job of guarding the inside of the field and forcing the Colombians to the outside, but the Colombians are happy to possess all day.
Colombia 4 for 5 on break chances in that first half. We did not see a whole lot of the Japanese legend Masahiro Matsuno. He only played 1 0-point, and when he took the field on offense, he launched a huck, and Arakawa caught it and was open, and it was beautiful.
That legendary lefty flick huck of his, he said, yeah, you need me to come out here? I can do this. 1 pass, 1 goal, instant huck. He's a legend.
All right, we got to go to break. Liam and Rahel have the second half from the Olympic Channel Studios in Madrid, with Colombia leading 7-3 after the break.
Here we are with the second half of action from this Pool B matchup between Colombia and Team Japan. We've seen what we expected to see, Liam, in the first half. Maybe not so much in terms of the outcome, but in terms of the place predicted.
See Kaede Yoshida warming up for her pull. They'll be starting on defense now, Japan. Colombia essentially playing a perfect game except for that first point. That's what matters now, is can the Japanese D-line get a break out of this Colombian team?
Japanese really needing to turn on their jets or just pull something out of the magician's hat for the second half in terms of defense. Needing desperately to force a turnover out of the errorless Colombians. And good pressure on that catch. Seems like a little bit of contact call, immediately uncontested, and the game continues. Here is a big backhand. Players underneath. Oh, excellent snag out of the air by the Japanese, and they get the chance for the important break. They move quickly. Matsuno with a lefty over the top, over his player, and that's an overthrow into the end zone for Imanishi.
So unfortunate for Japan. That was their first real break opportunity after a fantastic grab from Yoshida.
Colombia goes the other way. Again, lots of pressure on that far sideline on the catch. Cartagena. Another game stoppage in what looks like a violation. Probably potentially players moving a bit too soon after the game stoppage.
Yoshida with 2 interceptions already in this game. You can see how she gets them. She likes to throw herself around, make herself known.
She's not ready to give up just yet, and I love to see that. Here's a good break throw to get the Colombians in a little bit more of a favorable position. Torres with a huge gainer to Cárdenas. Borrero now continues to Duque. Ramirez centers to Cárdenas. Again, lots of pressure on Cartagena, but she keeps possession for Colombia. Japanese forcing a lot of passes out of the Colombians. But so far they're undisturbed. And here is the put into the end zone. Cárdenas with another assist, this time for Felipe Ramirez.
Cárdenas with another creative throw there, picking out the back corner. You can see just beautiful flow from the Colombians, moving it quickly around the field. That's how they gain yards and get outside the end zone. And then you just need someone to pick the pocket of this Japanese defense, find that hole and thread it through. And there's no one better in the game than Valeria Cárdenas.
Ramirez, the 25-year-old out of La Ceja.
Yoshida blocking this one out of stars, goes up and over, just gets the better read on it.
This was a good piece of play, but just a bit too much on the last throw. And here's the ripper for Ramirez. He's currently studying zootechnics and seems like a little beast in the end zone himself.
Yeah, ready with 3 assists, and that is his first goal of the game. I remember watching him at U24s in Heidelberg in 2019, and the USA were putting a different matchup on him every point, and he was roasting everyone. They're really struggling with his pace and tenacity on offense.
So far, Japan unable to upset Colombia on the defense. Now they need to focus on O once again. See a little poach in the open side by the Colombians. Japan gets slow. And here's a big throw. 3 Colombian defenders underneath. And that was a great read by the Colombians.
A great adjustment there by the Colombians. Seeing they're looking for Arakawa deep, and that time provided great help defense.
And this is a bit unfortunate for the Japanese, because if Colombia can extend their lead by another break, I don't think there will be too much space for the Japanese to come back. But the point ain't over yet. Great effort. And a hut goes into the end zone. 2 players underneath. Great read. That is Jimena Montaña with the score for Colombia, putting another break onto the score for them, going up 9-3.
Yeah, and Japan really struggling this game. Now you can see him going for their late stall throw to Arakawa, and that's been their only luck really all game. And the Colombians adjusting well to it there. You saw 3 players surrounding Arakawa. And maybe something the Japanese are struggling with is those cross-gender passes. They seem to be struggling to get those connections between all the players on the field.
So clearly Asada was again aiming for his favorite target, Arakawa. But this time very much expected by the Colombians. That was Cantor with the assist. Arakawa getting there last second, but Montaña kept her eyes on the disc, brought it down securely.
Something the Colombians are so good at is just playing really good mixed ultimate. And that's something that Japanese sides in the past have maybe struggled with. If you think both these nations were to go up against each other in the single gender divisions, it could be a little tighter or it could be a different sort of game, but the Colombians are so good at mixed ultimate. You see, most of the goals I think have been cross-gender passes. And this shows how great they are at playing that high-level mixed ultimate.
Seems like they play together all the time in Medellin. There's another big put by the Japanese. Poach defense is there. Who's going to read it better? And it's the Colombians who get a hand on it. No calls there, despite the contact. It was a high disc. Several players went up. Alba centers to Duque.
Yeah, the Japanese never going to win a game of sky ball against most nations. I saw Matsuno there coming in very late at the end and thinking maybe Matsuno 15 years ago might have skied the pack.
A pick sends the disc back to where it started. Duque puts up a big one by on his own. It's not all the way to the end zone though. Felipe Ramirez will look for the continuation, and it is there. And yet again, it's Jimena Montaña.
Montaña coming in as a late addition to this team, proving her worth though, and how many great players they have in Colombia. Another player ready to step up to the mark, and she's been fantastic in this game. Ramirez yet again. You can see that time the Colombians, when they hooked, was the one isolated player with plenty of separation. The Japanese throwing hooks into double coverage and people peeling off the back. And it's just at the moment Colombia a step above this Japanese side.
Colombia adding 2 breaks to the scoreboard during the second half, and are nearing again the hard point cap, which is 13 in the World Games format.
Yeah, and just 2 turnovers from this Colombian side. all game long. It's how good they're playing. You feel for the Japanese side, they're being punished heavily for every mistake.
And like you were saying, Liam, this was another cross-gender pass from the Colombians.
Yeah, I'll have to go back through the stat sheet, but I nearly feel every single pass has, or every single pass for a goal.
It surely feels like it. Both programs, I think both Colombians and the Japanese take, maybe actually, it could be true for all the World Games teams, really. They do place a lot of emphasis on really targeting every possible aspect of the sport when preparing. So really not just, the gym work, not just the conditioning, not just the drills and the throwing, but also mental toughness, building up on the team spirit, focusing on all kinds of areas that can just give you that little extra thing that you will need to compete against the best in the world.
See, this is another little break due to the heat here in Alabama. I'm not sure if they're fans or discs, but they work just as well.
There's a couple of things our discs can be used for. I'm sure there's plenty of stories you would have on that topic, Liam, but fans is surely one of them.
Look at the game stats here. Just 2 turnovers, I think, for the Colombians, which is incredible at this high level. Only 2 clean holds for Japan. Just really struggled on offense. Their defense has been actually quite good, but being punished every time they turn over the disc by the Colombians. You hear some House of Pain in the background there. Definitely Colombia administering the pain here in this Group B matchup. See some of the Crocs and Canadians in the background there, maybe doing a little scouting.
100%. I think it will have a huge impact on the games tomorrow when the teams have had a chance to actually encounter their opponents in real life at the pitch, showing off the first of their tactics. I really wonder how that's going to change the game, because we have already, well, I have not actually mentioned it yet, but mixed ultimate, having mixed gender on the pitch, adds an incredible additional tactical element to our sport, to our game. And it is just really fun because it becomes not just a battle of the best athletes and who can throw it farther and who can run faster, but it's very much a tactical thing and a mind battle of the coaches. And knowing now, having seen some of the teams in action, it just adds that additional element to it. So now it will really become a game of the coaches as well, starting tomorrow. Another huge pull out of Mosquera. All the way into the far corner of the end zone. Yes, the Japanese are open under, but they need to realize that as well. A foul call. Uncontested. There's a little downfield bump between Honna and Alba.
Just coming in on 1.
Disc will come in on 1 as we hear the announcer say. Up line for Honna. Backwards, now they're on the far sideline. Here's a quick forehand into the end zone. Collected this time. It's Miwata Jima with the score. And we see a first crossover gender action from the Japanese. And it has worked out really well for them.
You see the Japanese players working the camera. Something they like to do. They got their celebrations down. Tajima, another player from the Tokyo Mavericks. One of the younger players on this team, celebrating with Yoshida there. And some good offense. A nice hawk that was just about got over the stack. Not a lot of room for error. Good to see the Japanese players enjoying themselves.
Ajima said she started playing Ultimate because it looked fun. So if it does look fun to you here on our stream, please make sure to look up your local club, maybe a little park league. Just show up. You will meet a lot of nice people and maybe just fall in love with our sport.
Just looking at the stats now. So essentially Colombia have played a perfect game. Looking at their pulls and their offense, they have 2 turnovers, both coming from 2 blocks from Kaede Yoshida. So if Yoshida wasn't in the field, it could be a perfect game from Colombia. But it shows how hard it is to get the disc off this team.
Imanishi with the pull for Japan, not quite as far as Mosquera, but it also lands out of bounds, which will give the Colombians the advantage of walking it to the brick mark. Duque. Immediately back to Torres. Ramirez now. We see lots of quick, fluid movement out of the Colombians. We get a good view from our cameras to see them with short passes, not necessarily caring about the direction in which the disc goes as long as it keeps moving. Duque to Cartagena. Now they go through the break side, slowly but surely, nearing the end zone. Torres on the far sideline. One of the last chance for the Japanese to get the D, but it seems like a foul will be called on the mark, meaning there has been prohibited contact by the Japanese defender on Torres. Torres activating Duque. Goes with a wide swing. Great interception by the Japanese. And an immediate overthrow. Incredibly unfortunate for the Japanese. Torres wastes no time. Goes to Cárdenas. And this one might be a little too short. The Colombians getting a little lazy on their throws. Having that big margin, allowing for it really. Matsuno through the break side. But here's Cárdenas, who takes a timeout for Colombia, sensing that a little bit of a cleaning up might be needed.
Yeah, Japan working so hard to get the disc back and then turning it over on the first pass twice in a row in this point. They can't be doing that. Again, great defense by Colombia to get it back, but this Japanese D-line offense really needs to get it together. They won't get much opportunities from Colombia.
Well, it's looking like Japan still are able to keep their spirits high. It does help to know that you're able to force turnovers out of your opponent. There's the great interception. That was Okumura. Conservation of greatness, unfortunately, on that follow-up throw. But like I said, I think knowing that you are able to get the breaks is a good thing to have with you, to have that knowledge. And then you just really need to put a little more focus in once you get that turn.
The Japanese team, the latest to arrive in the country, only arriving on Saturday, and you're wondering, is it taking them a little more time to adjust to the heat, to the weather? Lots of teams like Germany have been in here a couple of weeks, and I think that really stood to them in their opening game.
Cárdenas brings the disc into play for Colombia. Huge, snappy swing into the middle. They continue down the far sideline. Great leading pass. Duque puts up forehand, but intercepted. Here's the Japanese with a chance to break. Put it up. Defense is there, but so is Matsuno with the score and a break for Japan. They go up 5-10.
Yeah, the first break of the game for Japan, and badly needed. That was fantastic defense from Okumura. Second big interception of that point.
He was ready to redeem himself for sure. But again, it was kind of close. The defense was there again. I would really like to see a little bit more I don't even know what, but I guess focus. Focus would be the right word from the Japanese. Let's see the replay again.
Yeah, fantastic cross-gender pass again to Matsuno. Wearing the captain's armband. Don't see too many captain's armbands in flying disc, but he's wearing one now and he's earned it.
And honestly, I take it back, Liam. I think Mayuka Takada knew exactly what she was doing. The disc needed to be fast. She knew it had to go over the defender, and he just couldn't reach it. And I think she weighed that one perfectly.
Yeah. Takada plays with club team Mud in Japan, one of the teams coming to the World Ultimate Club Championships in Ohio latest this year. A lot of really good Japanese women's club teams with Mud, Hook, Mavericks. A lot of very evenly matched teams makes for an exciting Japanese championship.
And the Japanese add another break. It's usually a good time to do that straight off of the first one. Cárdenas goes backwards. Three receivers out of Colombia. Mosquera moving to Ramirez. Ramirez puts up a big one. It's pretty clear who's going to win that one. And it will be none other than Jose Jimenez with a third, maybe even fourth goal of this game. That's huge. And he does like the camera as well.
I think that's the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration I saw there from Jock Jimenez. And that was all shoulders there. He actually didn't have much separation, but just the bigger player held his position very well. And I think if you're a bit sizier, you can use that to your advantage. Box out the player, get under the disc.
Good put out of Ramirez. He's had 5 assists so far in this game, so corresponding nicely with the scores by Jose Jimenez. And the Colombians at this stage looking very chilled, I must say.
Yeah.
Hot and chilled at the same time.
Jock Jimenez has played a bit of Ultimate in the US as well, as many of these Colombian players have. The Cárdenas sisters going over to play in the US quite regularly, as does many of the Colombian women.
We see a huge pull out of Colombia, really using that field positioning to their advantage. Japanese keep faking deep. This time they connect on the underpass. Yoshida goes to Asada. Asada with a leading pass. Duque with an interception. He gets underneath. And Colombia with a short field to go. Can they get another break? Trying to bring home the game quickly. Mosquera steps around. Good mark. She puts up a forehand, floats over the defender for the score. Ivan Alba with another goal. And another break for Colombia.
There's a stall 9 3/4 bailout there from Mosquera. Just blades one to the back of the stack. And it works out for her.
It's actually a pretty smart play when you think about it. There's nothing, you don't want to go backwards. Your mark hasn't allowed you to throw backwards for a few times. So why would you keep going that and sort of let her have the hand block when you can actually go into the end zone, get some yards. And if you're able to curve it like she did so that it goes over to the break side, unexpected probably by the defender, but the receiver very much ready for it.
Yeah, I think that was a stall 9 throw, and she did the right thing of putting it up to the break side, back of the end zone. It was going to favor the offensive player.
So Colombia with another break goes up 12-5 over Japan, and we have the first game point on our hands. Colombia surely will be looking to bring this home, bring this game home quickly, preserve energy for the rest of the pool games. Mosquera pulling can only mean one thing. There will be 4 female matchups. Great wobbled catch by Japan, keeping possession. Yoshida fakes big, doesn't take it though, goes for the reset instead. Matsuno to the far sideline, tries to get the reset immediately, keeps possession, puts up that lefty forehand. There's Mosquera underneath, and so is Jimenez, and he gets the D on none other than Arakawa. Colombia reading the Japanese game.
Yeah, they know when Matsuno gets the disc, he's looking for Arakawa, and yeah, the right matchup with Jimenez just has a lot more height. When we saw Mosquera even peeling off the back there, she might have made a block if Jimenez didn't.
And yeah, the Colombians reading the Japanese like an open book. Now they move the other way. They have the chance to take this game. Oh, great read. Now the defenders far behind. Ramirez on the sideline, goes to fourth. Cárdenas will be looking to dribble. Jimenez knocking on the doorstep. Colombians calm and collected. Few passes away from the end zone, but there's an overthrow by Cárdenas, but we see her give her teammate a little smile. I don't think she minds too much. She knows there's plenty of chances for her to do that again.
I feel like a couple of mistakes creeping into this Colombian side. I feel like I might have to do a little bit with the scoreline. If this was universe point, I feel like they connect on this throw. I guess with the heat and that scoreline is kind of adding up, but Japan's still in this game.
And Japan with another chance to stay in this game. Again, that poach in the open side. Great effort by Cárdenas. Now they get the flow going. Honna working with Arakawa. And Matsuno stops the play. There is another foul. His green captain's sleeve shining. Honna in front of the end zone with the assist for the score. That is Tomoko Inamura for Japan.
Much better offensive play there from Japan. Changing the point of attack, keeping the disc moving throughout the team, using everybody. That's the first time we've really seen that. I think that's what's been so great about the Colombians, changing that point of attack and keeping the disc moving. You see a little fumble there, got on the recovery by Yuko Tashino. Probably know her as Yuko Suzuki. Changed her name as well, was a big stand-up player for the Japanese women at the Asian Oceanic Ultimate Championships back in Shanghai in 2019, was the captain of that team, and I remember her scoring the winning goal for them to win over Australia. This Japanese defense, I actually really like it, but Colombia have the perfect offense to counter it, keeping the disc moving quickly, lots of small ball. I think it'll be interesting to see how the likes of Australia and France fare against this Japanese defense, and Japan side getting a little more time to feel themselves out against this number 2 seed of the tournament, Colombia.
That is right. In Pool B, next to Colombia and Japan, we have Australia and France. And the other 4 teams in the competition will also battle for the 2 top seeds in the pool to make it directly to the semis. A pick call stops the play in the second game point, with Colombia potentially making it to the hard cap before the time runs out. Mosquera. Guarded by Imanishi, who will tap the disc in at stall 3.
Where did the pick occur? Where? Dokone. She's saying that the pick occurred back there. So you go back to where the pick occurred? Okay.
So excellent effort from the game advisors, also helping out with translations for the sake of quickness and better flow of the game. I'm sure the spectators can use this little breather, regardless of what side they're cheering for.
You can see in this drone shot how the Japanese players like to sag off on some of the handler marks.
Again, huge pressure on that grab on Cartagena. Duque. Cantor. Sideways to Cartagena. Big fakes out of her to get around the mark of Yoshida. Torres now. Goes backwards again. Cantor. Incredible matchup, this Cartagena-Yoshida. Japanese working so hard, but the Colombians staying tight. Mosquera now. Oh, and here is the scare D. Torres unable to connect on that pass. Another break chance for the Japanese. Can they get the focus in? Big forehand into the end zone. And again, a tad too far for Kanari Himanishi. And that is a pity for Takada.
Yeah, looking frustrated there. Looked like the perfect throw when it came out initially.
They've worked so hard for that defense, Liam.
Yeah, and Colombia working hard on offense. You can see the Japanese like to sag in the lanes and the handlers, but Colombia very happy to filter through. Everyone happy to handle, everyone happy to cut. They can move between those lines.
Oh, great bit by Kaede. And here is the big put for the Colombians. Gets brought down. Last second D by Matsuno. No wonder that Cartagena saw Mosquera there streaking deep.
Matsuno silences the crowds for at least another minute or two anyway.
Is she making a call? Is she injured? She's calling injury? Injury.
So it seems like Mosquera is down with an injury. Could be that she landed on her foot not quite as she intended. But it seems like she will walk it off. Just no need to completely exhaust herself in a game like this.
Yeah, we hope that she's fine. One of the key players in this Colombian side. Didn't look like there was really any contact from Matsuno, so no foul call. Looked like a clean play.
Of course, under the WIFDF rules, as soon as the player makes an injury call without there being any contact with another player, they do have to take a sub, so they do need to go off the field.
Oh, you had two injuries?
Have a chance to see it on the replay, judge for yourself.
Matsuno still got some ups, a man in his 40s.
I think there could be a great competition on who has the oldest player on the field right now. I believe Torres also close, if not already in her 40s. But the Japanese now moving quickly. Lefty hammer to open up the break side. And another low throw will be saved by Tajima. Goes to Matsuno. Matsuno getting that lefty gun ready. Oh, and an incredible play on that upline cut. Matsuno will call a foul though. It was really good body awareness by Ramirez, I believe. He was trying to get around him.
Very difficult to get around him in that tight space without causing a foul.
I think it was rather after Ramirez touched the disc, but that could still potentially could have prevented Matsuno from getting a second chance on that disc. Really like the interpreters getting involved really quickly, trying to stick to the time limits assigned for the discussions.
当たっててもぶつかってて、ぶつかっててもキャッチはできなかった。ぶつかってなくてもキャッチはできなかったんじゃないか。
いやいや、先にもうディスクを触っていたんで。
He or catch before saying.
So había considerado que lo tuvo. Uncontested. Thank you.
So again, excellent display of spirit of the game. Players talking it out quickly, coming to a resolution. Japanese stay with the disc. Matsuno with a break side throw into the end zone. Such an effort. I don't know if that was who the intended receiver was there, but nonetheless, Colombia with a third chance to bring this game home. Lateral quick movement. Felipe Ramirez goes to Cárdenas. Duque now on the sideline, examining the downfield. They spread it a little wider. Cheeky scooper. And a little too lazy from the Colombians again. That was Cantor trying to get high.
And see another injury call in the field. They're dropping like flies at the moment.
You would almost think, is it really worth it in this game? But we see Hiroaki Kitao walk off the field and being replaced by Yohei Okumura. Matsuno goes to the middle. Again, connects with Okumura. Nothing happening for the Japanese downfield, so they will go with the leading pass to Matsuno on the money.
That is a classic slide on the knees catch by Matsuno. We see that a lot from the Japanese Ultimate players, at least we used to.
They get high, they get low, whatever needs to get done. Another stoppage. It seems like players started moving again a bit too quickly before the disc actually got tapped back into play. We see some really tight match D from the female side off of the front of the stack. Okumura now works again with Matsuno. Matsuno fakes the hammer, doesn't take it. Now the women get involved. No continuation there. Ashino goes for the dump. Honna just shy of the end zone. It's Takada. Thinks about the breakthrough, nothing there. And another stoppage of the play. I think Takada is not a big fan of Montaña's tight mark. Takada with already one assist in this game. Can she get another one for her team? She puts up the breakthrow, and it seems like it was collected. Another break for Japan. They go up 7-12. Matsuno, the captain, with a save grab.
And that's technically a bookends for Matsuno as we see them threading the needle in the front corner of the end zone. Not a lot of space to work with. Colombia not playing with the clinical offense they have for most of this game. I was loving that Matsuno Ramirez matchup. Matsuno, probably one of the best players from the past, going up against Felipe Ramirez, which I think will be one of the best players in the world of the future. As you can see, the Japanese team very good at adhering to the WFDF uniform guidelines, having matching hats. We love to see it.
And here is Masahiro Matsuno proving yet again that age is not just a number. It's a proof. It's an ID. It's a passport. It's a certificate of your experience. Japanese staying in this game despite it not looking so great at the start of the second half. Now they finally get a break for themselves. Colombia still 1 point away from taking this game. I wonder if there'll be able to just pluck it up and be done with it. Here's a deep shot. And it is none other than Jose Jimenez to bring this game home for Colombia. They win 13-7. Here is some fun clips and Colombian moments.
Jimenez going to have to pay some copyright to, I think, Cristiano Ronaldo, if he keeps using that celebration. Definitely famed by the soccer player.
Muraoka doing a good job, but just losing a step or two on Jimenez, who's been huge in this game with 2 blocks, 5 goals. Definitely one of the stats leaders so far on these World Games teams. Here is Colombia celebrating their first victory in Pool B. Plenty of opponents awaiting them in the pool and later on the bracket. Yes, we love you too, Jose. Thank you for giving us such a great performance. Liam, what a game. Expected, unexpected. What do you say as the expert on Japanese Ultimate, out of Europe anyway?
Yeah, Japan played a good game, but just weren't clicking through that while. There was a well-oiled machine in Colombia. Just brought their A game. Maybe took the foot off the gas a little bit towards the end of that match. Maybe it was heat. Maybe it was just that scoreline. Trying to save something for later.
Here is some of the best moments of this game. Saw some big shots out of Japan at the start. Arakawa, unsurprisingly, getting big in the end zone. But Colombia responding with some great reads of their own. Here is Ramirez.
Yeah, we saw that in the earlier stage of the game, Arakawa being used as a deep option, but Colombia adjusted well, and we're the standout team in this matchup.
Here is the important break for Matsuno. And the last point to bring this game home for Colombia. Third game of the day in the books for Flying Disc. I was Rachel Doshnerova, and together with Liam Grant, we would like to thank you for watching.
Vamos, Colombia, 13-7 over Japan in the third game here on day one of competition in the ultimate flying disc here at the World Games. With Daryl Stanley and Megan Tormey, I am Evan Lepler. Still one more game today. The United States and Great Britain will be the nightcap. But look, that was kind of 2 different games. Colombia was up 10-3. And had only 2 turnovers at that point. They were 6 of 7 on break chances. Then things got a little sloppy. The Colombians finished the game with only 8 turnovers. But the first 13 points were really a Colombian clinic, as good as they could almost possibly play.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that we talked about before the game, the thing that they exhibited during the game is just their ability to possess the Frisbee in a really dynamic and sure, confident way. I really am so impressed by the across-field reset throws that they throw. And then as they get closer to the end zone, those are the shots they're taking to make scores. It is just absolutely incredible.
It was 2-2 in the first half, and then Colombia scored 8 of the next 9 goals to really seize control and bury the Japanese, who had a nice run late. Matsuno had some vintage moments, Daryl, but just not enough size and speed and smarts from the Japanese overall.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get a chance to make this game theirs. frequently at their peak, which I don't want to say this isn't, but they would bring the game to you. You'd have to play their zone. You'd have to play, guard some of their throws and their shots and their break throws. It didn't feel like they had that much imposition on the game beyond the first couple of points.
That's a great point, Daryl. There are so many times that both their defense really controlled how the opposing team's offense would flow or not flow, and then offensively they would dictate the pace with just breakneck speed. We did not see them setting the tone during this game. It was really Colombia that was a high stall count bailout throw.
And Mosquera says no problem.
So a somewhat scary moment here as Mosquera got D'd up by Matsuno, then went down. She was being bathed in ice on the sidelines in the final couple points of the game. It's seemingly treating her for overheating, and hopefully she'll be all right. 13-7 though, as Hawk Jimenez hauled in the huck from Simone Ramirez. And look, there was a lot of conversation coming into the World Games. The Colombian women are phenomenal. We know that. I thought the Colombian men showed themselves really well in this game. Now, they had size and they had speed against some of the Japanese men in those matchups, but as we look at the final stats, what do you guys think about the Colombian male players' performances in looking forward in this event?
I mean, to me, I've always remarked on how effective they are defensively. Hawk Jimenez catching up to one of Matsuno's really well-thrown flicks. But, catching up to that and getting that block thoroughly in the back end zone, I mean, that's something that very few teams can boast. And I think the Colombian men showed that, especially both Ramirez in addition to Hawk.
Yeah, I think especially when you compare their performance at the last World Games, the male matching players were definitely up to par with the talent that we saw from the female matching players. They integrated incredibly well in terms of their offensive movement and what they were looking for downfield. There were so many times it just felt effortless and seamless, even though, like we said, Japan was putting on some creative and different defenses, but Colombia was really quick to recognize where the open spots were and hit them with ease.
Team Colombia, who won the silver medal 5 years ago in Poland, 1-0 to begin the 2022 World Games here in Birmingham, Alabama. 13-7, Colombia takes it over Japan. Quick timeout, and then Manuela Cardenas, no stranger to this great event, will join us here at our game day set as our coverage of the 2022 World Games continues.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve when we pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
Should I slow you down? The body was like, hey, yeah. Slow.
Here we go. Stand by. Stand by. And welcome back to our set. Manuela Cardenas of Team Colombia, kind enough to join us. Congrats on the 13-7 win over Japan. You guys started this game brilliantly. You jumped out 10-3, only 2 turnovers in those first 13 points. What were you most pleased by with your team's performance at the start of this event?
Muchas gracias. We were waiting for this game so much. Like at the moment that we knew that we were going to start against Japan, we were like, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Like both teams, we have like kind of similar style. We both play in a really small spaces. So like from the warm up, we were like, we gotta start this game up here. We can't like start and warming up during like the points. So that was our goal. Since this morning, we were like, we gotta start this game out here. We gotta win our match out. We gotta be super tight. We had something that we call finger. That everyone have to be like close enough like to touch your person with the finger. Just like being so stressful for them. Just like for them like feeling that we were there all the time. And I think we did a pretty good job like starting like the game like being there, like not giving like any space for them like to breathe or something. So yeah, I think like that was like set or win for today.
I think the thing that really impressed me, well, one of the many things that impressed me was just the how poised your offense remained against sometimes some very tough Japan defense, but they never slowed down your offense frequently. And so I'm just curious what you talked about prior to the game that enabled you to find shots like your throw across the front of the end zone. What were you thinking? Were you looking when you were watching these different defenses come down the field and just your ability to work with them?
We were like, it was like, they're going to be tight. They're going to be so tight. And we got to use our spaces. Like sometimes like when we play like super fast or give and go or fast game, like also like sometimes like get you like to an energy that people is so stressful. So we were like, we gotta play fast, but we gotta be. We gotta like stop like also to see like those kind of space that we hit a lot today because we were like playing so fast. So like the attention like go to one side and then we will have like the other side like to throw those spaces. So we were like, we gotta play fast, but we gotta think while we are running.
I mean, you saw that. I love that because Mosquera at the end there, they had crowded all around the Frisbee. You guys couldn't get all the resets off. She's spinning, she's circling, she's searching, and then she goes to the back of the end zone and she sees. So that it was almost as if like they're compressing, right, all that space early in the game. And you said, we see that. Let's throw over the top now, right?
Yeah.
Let's expand as soon as we bring you in by playing so close. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is that what? Because it's like when like all the attention is going there, have to be people out there for free for sure because they're putting all of the material like to the open side. We were like, we gotta think, we gotta like stop one moment, so in A and try to look other way because like we will have like teammates around. I was like, hey, I'm here with the person super tight. But I think this is gonna be the hardest challenge for the next of the tournament. Like we will have a lot of our hard match out, but we gotta be able like to think while we are in that like point of tiring or if that point of stretching because like it's not gonna like sometimes it's gonna be hard like to win our game just with the legs. We gotta use our mind a lot.
So many more questions we could ask you, but we want to let you get out of the sun. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. The World Games continue. You're no stranger to this event.
Muchas gracias. Un saludo para mi mamá y papá.
Manuela Cardenas was 16 years old playing in a World Championship game in London in 2016. She was 17 years old in the World Games. She's a wily vet at the ripe old age of 22. She'll be 23 later this month. And we're going to wrap it up. Give our crew a little bit of a break in this heat. Still the United States and Great Britain to come. We'll be back with you in about 15 minutes. But for Daryl Stanley and Megan Tormey and our entire crew, Evan Lepler saying so long for now. Colombia 1-0 to start the 2022 World Games with a 6-goal win over Japan. Thank you for watching this exclusive World Flying Disc Federation coverage of the World Games. On behalf of our entire crew in Madrid and everyone here in Birmingham, Alabama, I'm Evan Lepler. This has been a copyrighted presentation of the International World Games Association in conjunction with the Olympic Channel and the World Flying Disc Federation.